Long before White was a household name, she spent her summers doing some theater, some of those summers in Maine. It was at the Lakewood Theatre in Madison where something rather magical happened.
Betty White's career did something few have. It spanned more than 6 decades.
It's the Betty White Show from Hollywood.
It's time to say hello again.
From her own daytime television show to the Mary Tyler Moore Show and her most iconic role as the gullible, lovable Rose on Golden Girls, White's talent stood out.
We couldn't pass a horse without Charlie saying, "Can I show you something in an Oxford?" And then he'd laugh, and I'd laugh. Sometimes even the horse would laugh.
In 2010, at 87 years old, her award-winning career got a reboot after she starred in a Snickers commercial during the Super Bowl.
Mike, what is your deal, man?
Oh, come on, man. You've been riding me all day.
But long before White made being old hip, she met her husband, who she would later say was the love of her life.
And now here's your host on Password, Allen Ludden.
They met on the game show in 1961, and it was clear Ludden liked her.
Betty White, nice to have you in Password.
Thank you, Alan. Nice to be here.
What's new and bright in your future?
I'm going home for a little while, and I'm going to goof off and maybe take a little vacation. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good. Have a good time and come back play Password, though.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Ludden was a recent widower.
He had 3 children at home under 12, and he was looking toward the following summer, thinking like, what can I do that's different for a family vacation? So he decided to do 3 weeks on the summer stock theater, a couple of weeks in Cape Cod, and then a week in Skowhegan.
Ludden played opposite Betty White in the play Critics' Choice at the Lakewood Theatre in Madison.
It is the oldest continuously running summer theater in the country.
Jenny Obie wrote a book about the theater's history in 2017.
They spent 3 weeks together, kind of 24/7. I mean, I think they were 3 cottages apart. The wonderful thing about Lakewood Theatre for the actors was that they came up and it was like a resort for them, right? And Betty actually described it as being so quiet and peaceful, and they were kind of the only ones around enjoying, swimming and boating and hiking.
One night, the man Betty had been dating came to see the play.
At the end of the play, there was a big, a reconciliation scene, and so Allen Ludden and Betty White, their characters had to kiss. And on this particular night when Phil, her boyfriend at the time, was in the audience, he kind of drew out that scene quite a bit, and Betty White said she remembers hearing a large from the third row because her boyfriend was like, "Are you kidding me?"
By the time they left Maine, Ludden was smitten, and he would spend the next several months pursuing White.
At one point, he even bought a wedding ring and pushed it across the table to her at dinner and said, "Hey, you might as well take this now because one day you're going to put it on." And she kind of got all angry and gave it back to him. And then he just laughed and he put it on a chain and wore it around his neck for the next several months.
After 2 failed marriages, White was hesitant to tie the knot again. She declined Ludden's many proposals, something she would later say was the biggest regret of her life, not marrying him sooner. Finally, in June of 1963, the pair wed.
What are your plans for the summer, Betty?
Well, I'm going to do some... What did you have in mind, Alan? I'm going to do some summer theater with my husband, Alan.
Where, Betty?
Alan and I are going to do, Allen Ludden, that is, on Password, are going to do Brigadoon in Patterson, New Jersey, and then I go to St. Louis, we're going to have a big fight, then I go to St. Louis and do King and I, then we make up, and Alan and I are going to get back together again in Janus, Dennis and Skowhegan.
Gee, I hope I can see it. Nice to have you here. It's a very great thrill to have Betty here.
The couple returned to Lakewood Theatre in the summer of '63 to star in Janus.
They had gotten married in Las Vegas, and then they considered their trip to Maine their honeymoon.
They performed one more time at Lakewood in 1968. The couple was married for 18 years until Ludden died of stomach cancer. Maine played a small part in what was, by all measure, a legendary love story.